Removing lead pipes is one of the biggest priorities on the Biden administration's agenda. The proposed deadline, 10 years to get rid of every lead line in the country. But our national investigative team has discovered that there's skepticism. That deadline can even be reached, and evidence that the goal is already off track. Factfinder investigator Carice Jackman digs into the government's plan to get the lead out.
10 years ago, Flint, Michigan became the national epicenter of water contamination in America. But that town isn't alone. In millions of homes, drinking water is pulled into faucets, showers, and bathtubs laced with lead.
Lead isn't this harmless thing. It is a very potent neurotoxin. It does permanent damage. We can pass it down through generations.
A victim of greed, corruption, and the mistakes and the blatant stupidity of our government. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Melissa Mays knows all too well what happens when clean water isn't taken seriously.
Is the crisis over? No. We had to sue to get the service lines replaced, and that's not even finished.
That lawsuit, filed by Mays and others, claimed the city of Flint violated the Safe Drinking Water Act. The city settled and agreed to replace all the lead lines by 2020. But that didn't happen.
So for those who may say it took too long, there's no excuse, what would you say to people who said that?
Well, I mean, many communities throughout the country are going through the same thing, and they're saying that it takes time. It takes time to be very thorough and methodical about what we do.
Flint, under a federal court order, couldn't get the pipes in one city replaced by its deadline, making the job of replacing millions of lines in America in the next 10 years a daunting task. One that 15 Republican attorneys general have this year even called unworkable, underfunded, and unnecessary. That in a letter to the EPA that says the proposed deadline is impossible to comply with.
We are prioritizing this issue.
Wendy Wilkes, Director of Infrastructure Implementation at the EPA, says they are working hard to bring the administration's Get the Lead Out initiative, or GLOW, to life.
With GLOW, communities will receive technical assistance kind of along a range of different ways to get the lead out of their water system. So it starts with identifying where the lead service lines are.
But that identification isn't simple. We've discovered some states don't know the full picture of how many lead lines they have, which means the full scope of the problem remains largely unrealized. We asked every state for an estimate of how many homes have lead pipes. The result? Some had identified tens of thousands of lead lines, like Massachusetts, Tennessee, and North Dakota. But many couldn't give us a number. Alabama said their number is unknown. Kansas also said it had nothing on hand to give us. Nebraska, the same. But later this year, all of the states will have to know their numbers. An EPA rule requires states to get an accurate inventory by October 16th. Counting lines is not a quick process, and the clock is ticking. One survey found it takes 2 or 3 full-time people working 6 days a week, a total of 2 months, to do an inventory of a medium-sized city.
So can we realistically get this done in 10 years?
I think it's possible. We have really good examples across the country of communities who are well on their way to reaching that 10-year mark, some perhaps even faster.
For Mays, she's tired of the excuses and doesn't want to hear states say it can't be done.
Get the lead out. Lead pipes are bad. Get it out and stop giving it to the people that you're supposed to be protecting.
The EPA does tell our national investigative team that $15 billion is the largest investment it has specifically for lead, but also knows that's not enough. The EPA also says if you're a homeowner and you're concerned about potentially having a lead pipe serving your home, you should contact your water system. And if you do have a story, we want to hear from you. Call us or email our investigators at the address you see there on your screen. We'll look into any of your issues for the next Factfinder Investigates.